The U.S. power grid is divided into three major regions: the Eastern Interconnection, which operates in states east of the Rocky Mountains, the Western Interconnection, covering the Pacific Ocean to the Rocky Mountain states, and the Texas Interconnected System. Within each of these regions, local electricity grids are interconnected, allowing multiple pathways for power to flow from generation to load centers. The North American Electric Reliability Corporation, NERC, is a not-for-profit international regulatory authority tasked with assuring the effective and efficient reduction of risks to the reliability and security of the grid. However, despite these safeguards, the U.S. power grid remains vulnerable to collapse under certain conditions. This video will reveal the states that will be most affected if such a collapse were to occur. Number 10. New Jersey. New Jersey's power grid is significantly outdated, with most of its power lines built 40 to 80 years ago. These aging infrastructures are operating beyond their intended capacity, making them prone to failures, especially during peak demand periods. Despite technological advancements, these old power lines haven't been modernized, resulting in increased vulnerability. The lack of advanced monitoring systems is a major issue. New Jersey relies on outdated methods to estimate the capacity of its power lines, leading to inefficiencies and higher risks of failure. In 2024, New Jersey experienced 6 major power outages, each lasting several hours. These outages highlight the state's susceptibility to both natural and man-made disruptions. Additionally, cybersecurity is a significant concern for New Jersey's power grid, with utilities facing substantial threats from cyber attacks and lacking the necessary tools to detect and respond effectively. Number 9. Florida. Florida, renowned for its beauty and coastal landscapes, faces significant challenges with its power grid due to frequent hurricanes, which often result in extensive power outages. For instance, Hurricane Ian in 2022 caused severe damage to Florida's power infrastructure, necessitating prolonged restoration efforts. The state's high population density, particularly in urban centers, places immense stress on its power grid. Florida's power infrastructure is outdated, with limited updates making it more susceptible to breakdowns. Additionally, the state's geographical vulnerability exposes power stations and critical grid components to rising sea levels and flooding. From 2002 to 2022, Florida ranked second in the nation for the most power outages. The electric utility industry in Florida wields substantial influence over state politics, influencing policies that prioritize utility interests over necessary grid improvements. Number 8. Louisiana. Louisiana faces significant challenges with its power grid, characterized by aging infrastructure and a high susceptibility to severe weather. Approximately 70% of the state's transmission lines are over 25 years old, and many major power transformers are more than 40 years old. The state's economy, which relies heavily on oil, tourism, and agriculture, is particularly vulnerable to power outages. In one year, Louisiana experienced 16 major outages, resulting in approximately 697 hours of downtime. Financial constraints and regulatory challenges contribute to the problem, with insufficient investment in updating and maintaining the power grid. The models used to predict weather risks are outdated, and Louisiana's preparedness and response plans are often inadequate for the challenges they face. Number 7. Hawaii. Hawaii, a group of islands in the Pacific Ocean, faces unique challenges in managing its power supply due to its isolation from the mainland United States. Each island operates its own independent power grid, making it difficult to receive assistance during power shortages or emergencies. Hawaii relies heavily on imported oil for electricity, making it susceptible to fluctuations in global oil prices and supply chain disruptions. Natural disasters such as hurricanes, volcanic eruptions, and tsunamis pose serious threats to Hawaii's power infrastructure. To mitigate these challenges, Hawaii is increasingly turning to renewable energy sources such as solar and wind, but integrating these sources into the grid presents its own set of challenges. Number 6. Washington. Washington state grapples with significant challenges concerning its power grid, affecting residents with frequent and prolonged power outages. On average, Washingtonians endure power outages lasting approximately 527 minutes per year. One of the most pressing issues facing Washington's power grid is security threats. In 2022 alone, there were 15 attacks on electrical substations in the state. The state's aging infrastructure makes the grid susceptible to severe weather events such as winter storms. Despite Washington's reliance on renewable energy sources, particularly hydroelectric power, this dependence can be unstable during dry periods when water levels are low. Number 5. Texas. Texas operates its own power grid managed by the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, ERCOT, which is isolated from the national grid. This independence means that during major issues, Texas cannot rely on assistance from other states, increasing the risk of widespread blackouts during extreme weather events. The state frequently faces severe winter storms and extreme heat waves, both of which strain the grid. A significant portion of Texas's electricity comes from natural gas, and many of Texas's power plants are over 30 years old and prone to breakdowns under extreme conditions. While the state is gradually incorporating more renewable energy sources, the transition is slow and expensive. Number 4. New York. New York's power grid faces numerous challenges exacerbated by its geographic location and aging infrastructure. The state is particularly susceptible to extreme weather events such as hurricanes, blizzards, and heat waves. Much of New York's power grid infrastructure is outdated, struggling to meet current demands. The state's ambitious clean energy goals are hindered by regulatory challenges, and the rapid electrification of New York's transportation and building sectors is putting additional strain on the already stressed grid. Delays in permitting and grid interconnection for new renewable energy projects further complicate efforts to modernize the grid. Number 3. Alaska. Alaska, the biggest state in the U.S., spans over 663,000 square miles. This isolation presents unique challenges, especially when it comes to electricity and transportation. One of the primary issues is the high cost of electricity, with Alaska having some of the highest electricity rates in the nation. The state relies heavily on imported fuels, and delivering fuel to remote areas is both expensive and complex. Transportation in Alaska is another major hurdle, with many areas accessible only by small planes or boats. Alaska's reliance on imports for essential goods like food, fuel, and medical supplies makes the state particularly vulnerable in the event of a power grid collapse. Number 2. Oregon. Oregon, known for its lush forests and scenic rivers, faces significant challenges in ensuring a reliable power supply. The state heavily relies on hydroelectric power, but recent droughts have severely impacted this reliance. Oregon is also vulnerable to extreme weather events such as winter storms and wildfires. Security threats add another layer of concern, with numerous attacks on substations in recent years. Oregon's aging power grid infrastructure exacerbates these vulnerabilities, struggling to meet modern energy demands and withstand extreme weather conditions. Number 1. Ohio. Ohio's power grid faces significant challenges due to outdated equipment and insufficient upgrades to meet growing energy demands. This outdated infrastructure increases the likelihood of failures, especially during peak usage times or extreme weather conditions. In 2021, Ohio residents experienced power outages averaging 2 hours per year, double the duration compared to states with more reliable grids. Severe weather exacerbates these issues, with Ohio frequently enduring harsh winter storms and intense heat waves. Ohio's dependence on natural gas for power generation also contributes to its grid instability. The state's grid modernization efforts have lagged due to financial constraints and regulatory hurdles, making the grid more susceptible to disruptions. We have come to the end of today's video. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content.